What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing Game Week 27 in the Premier League. As you can see, I did very well in terms of results, got 9 out of 10 correct. Score lines, yes, I didn't get them all right because that's almost impossible to do. But if I put a bet on and put all of these games in there, with the exception of Everton West Ham, I'd be very rich right now. We start off with the West London derby, Brentford Chelsea. I predicted a 1-1 draw, ended up being a 2-2 draw. Jackson, what a clown. He missed a sitter, he scored, and then he started shushing the crowd after 35 minutes. What are you doing? Like, you've been terrible all season, your team's been terrible all season, and now you're trying to give it the big one. Like, come on, man. Visser tried 3 bicycle kicks in this game. 2 of them did not come off. 1 of them did, and it was fantastic. And Brentford also hit the post twice in this game, so they could have won it. Chelsea, once again, poor performance, £1 billion, and you cannot see where that money has gone. Everton West Ham, I predicted a 1-1 draw. West Ham won 3-1. Now this game was 1-1 until the 91st minute when Soucek scored a wonderful goal, but until then Everton were by far the better team. They'd missed a penalty. Beto then did score though. Areola made a number of phenomenal saves in this game. Genuinely, he is a contender for team of the season in my opinion, because the only goalkeeper in the league that I think has been better than him is Vicario. Alisson's been injured for a bit of a while now, so I don't think I can put him in. But Areola's genuinely saved West Ham so many points this season. Without him, they would not be where they are. It also means it's now 10 games without a win for Everton. In a lot of those games, they've played very well. Their lack of a clinical striker is costing them really, really badly. Like I said, if they had Cameron Archer in their team, they would be in a European race even with their points deduction. It's a fantastic win for West Ham, 2 on the bounce now. They're firmly back in the Europa League race. Fulham against Brighton, I predicted a 2-1 Fulham win. They won 3-0. Wilson and Muniz were fantastic. They both provide each other with an assist for their goals, and Muniz overall just led the line really well. He's done it multiple times over the last few weeks. It'll be hard for Jimenez to get a place back in the team when he's fit again, because Muniz has looked really solid. I think overall he's probably looked a bit better than Jimenez this season. He was also looking quite good when he had hit his form. This also means that Fulham have still never lost to Brighton in the Premier League, 4 wins and 4 draws. Ferguson missed a couple of chances that he probably should have taken, and Brighton have now only won 5 out of the last 21 league games, which is a really, really disappointing record for them. Newcastle Wolves, I predicted a 3-1 Newcastle win. They won 3-0. This was a matchup between my 2 favourite managers in the world, Gary O'Neill and Eddie Howe. This is Eddie Howe's 100th Premier League win, so congratulations, Eddie. Hopefully many more to come. Newcastle ended their 4-game home winless run in the Premier League, and Isak and Gordon both got on the score sheet yet again. Fantastic players, man. They are really, really good. Gordon should be a certainty for the Euro squad in my opinion, and Isak, once again, his minutes to goal ratio is really good. It's just a shame that he keeps getting injured. Hopefully he can find some fitness. Willock also started in this game and he was really good, almost scored. You can definitely see the energy that he brings. Trippier had to go off, unfortunately, in the 50th minute, but his substitute, Livramento, came on and scored a really nice goal. And unfortunately for Wolves, Neto also went off at half-time, which means that he could be out. If he is, it's a real shame because they've already lost Cunha and Hwang Hee-chan. If they lose all 3 of their attackers, like, that's a real shame for them. But yeah, they didn't really deserve anything. They did have a couple chances, and they did play okay, but I think Newcastle were definitely a better team. Nottingham Forest against Liverpool. I predicted a 3-2 Liverpool win. It ended up only being a 1-0 win. But I think Forest were the better team and should feel really hard done by, not just because of what happened, which we'll talk about first. I mean, I think we've all seen it. Kanate went down with a head injury after Kelleher clattered into him. Forest had the ball after the referee checked that Kanate was alright. He gave Liverpool the ball when it should have been a Forest ball, and a minute later Liverpool went up the other end and scored. Now there was a decent amount of time in between that. Forest definitely could have prevented it, but if Forest had got the drop ball, they could have scored. Who knows? I think the time argument that they went over the allocated time is just not an issue, because Forest were time wasting in at the time. But Forest, like I said, I thought they were a better team. Elanga had a couple sitters that he really should have scored. He had a one-on-one, he had a cross where he had most of the goal to aim at as well, where he just hit it wide. Tottenham against Crystal Palace, I banged it. Predicted a 3-1 and it was a 3-1. Now Tottenham have had very few penalties this season. I believe they've only had like 1 in the whole season. And they should have had another one in this game, because Werner was quite clearly tripped over at 0-0, and a penalty wasn't given by the referee. VAR cleared it for some reason, even though there was clear contact and it clearly brought him down. It's a penalty. Werner did miss a sitter in the first half as well, but I thought his overall game was very good and he did get his goal later on. But for that, Eze put Palace 1-0 up with a really nice free kick. Brennan Johnson came off the bench and had a huge impact yet again. 2 assists. The first one was to Werner. Brilliant work from him, man. He battled through like 3 Palace players, got the ball across. Werner finished it very well, and then Maddison assisted Romero, and then Johnson assisted Huminson. Tottenham were really dominant. They had almost 8% possession. They had the majority of the chances. Palace had very few, and there could have been a fair few more goals up. I think they still have an issue where they're trying to pass the ball into the net a bit too much. You know, when you've got Maddison, he can have a shot from 35 yards and it could go in. So I feel like he needs to do that a bit more. But I also want to give Van de Ven a big shout out because he was fantastic yet again. He dealt with Mateta superbly. Mateta's not easy to deal with. You know, Mateta bullied Disasi, who then had a really good game against Erling Haaland. Like, he's a real handful. He's really big, he's strong, he's quick. Van de Ven dealt with him with no real issue. Luton Town against Aston Villa, I put it to the 3-1 Villa win. They won 3-2. In the first half, Villa were really, really dominant. Like, it was all them. Luton had nothing. Villa went in 2-0 up after Ollie Watkins scored another 2 goals. What a player he is. What a season he's having, man. 16 goals and 10 assists. If he was a striker for any other country, he's their first choice. It's just a shame for him that Harry Kane exists and he's having an even better season. Minsky made a couple really good saves in the first half, mainly from Rodgers, who came on for Jacob Ramsey. He also had a good attempt saved. But Luton came out in the second half and showed so much intent to come back into the game. And they did. They made it 2-2. They were by far the better team in the second half. This game epitomises the saying, a game of 2 halves. Because after the first half display, I thought Luton could be out of it. But Villa, I feel like they have a bit of an issue here because it was very similar to the game against Manchester United, where they went in 2-0 up at half-time. They're playing really well, came out in the second half and were just terrible, and they lost. On this occasion, luckily for them, they didn't lose. They scored with their only chance in the second half and won the game. But I think it was harsh on Luton. It's another late goal they've conceded. It's yet another game at home where they've played really well and have lost by 1 goal. It's happened so many times this season. Finally against Bournemouth, once again I banged it, predicted a 2-0 Bournemouth win. However, the game went quite differently to what I thought. Burnley had a lot of possession and they looked quite comfortable for most of the game. In the first half, Bournemouth had 1 chance with Cliver and he took it really well, to be fair to him. Burnley had a couple chances themselves. Goodmanson had a free kick saved off the line by Neto, fantastic goalkeeping, and a couple others, nothing too significant. Bournemouth had Senesi get injured after 10 minutes, and I brought him into my FPL team, so that's just great. Semenyo then got the second late on, and this game actually meant that Bournemouth ended their 7-game winless run. And they've got 2 very easy games coming up at home to Luton and Sheffield United. They should be able to win both of them and sail into mid-table once again and leave any relegation fears they might have behind them. Manchester Derby, City United. I thought City were going to absolutely demolish Man United. I thought it was going to be 4-0. It was 3-1. It wasn't, you know, that much of a battering, and it could have gone really differently. So Man United went 1-0 up. Rashford scored an absolute screamer, but he was terrible. He was the worst player on the pitch, in my opinion. You know, because I thought, oh wow, he's put out a statement. He scored this banger. He could have a really good game here and really cement himself as a top-class player. After that goal, he had a chance where he was 5 yards ahead of Walker. The ball's bouncing in front of him. He heads it forward. He's an on goal. He heads it downwards and it goes behind him. I don't even understand how it's possible to do that. It was pathetic. And then later on in the half, he had another volley that he completely scuffed. A bit of a harder chance, but he could have had a hat-trick. Man City then equalised early in the second half after Rashford fell over from the slightest of contacts with Kyle Walker. Never a foul. City went up the other end and scored. Again, Rashford could have done a lot better there, could have got Man United a goal. But Foden really showed his class in this game. I've been critical of him, and I've said he's overrated. I still do believe he's a bit overrated, but he is a really good player, and he showed it in this game. 2 goals, by far the best player on the pitch. Erling Haaland did score, but again had a really poor game. He missed a sitter from about 3 yards. He hit it over somehow. De Bruyne wasn't fantastic either. Rodri was really good and got an assist. Got 2 assists actually. Another thing that really impressed me with Foden in this game was his defensive contribution. I remember that I think they were 2-1 up and Man United almost had a counter-attack. He raced back and he got the ball, and I just love seeing players do that, man. The commitment that he showed there was top class, and that only elevates my opinion of him. Ten Hag crying about the foul on Rashford as well. It's just so embarrassing. Your team did not play well and it was never a foul. Stop embarrassing yourself. Finally, Sheffield United against Arsenal. I thought it was a 4-0 Arsenal win. It was 5-0 by half-time and they ended up winning 6-0. Arsenal just carried on doing what Arsenal have been doing, man. They're the best team in the league to watch by a mile right now. Honestly, the football they're playing is probably the best I've ever seen any team play, like live. I know people are going to mention Barcelona in 2009, but I wasn't watching football back then. I was like 6 years old. They control possession, but then the way they can just flick of a switch, play 3 really quick passes and they're in the box and they score, it's just mesmerising, man. Seeing Declan Rice in this number 8 role, top class, man. I love him so much. I've already said that a lot of times, but he's so good. The last 3 away games have finished 6-0, 5-0 and 6-0. That's amazing. Partey also came on with about 25-30 minutes left, so it's good to see him getting some minutes into his legs because he's been out for a very long time. Honestly, the Sheffield United fans deserve to be paid for having to sit through these matches at Bramall Lane. The last 4 games in all competitions at home, they've conceded 5 to Brighton, then they conceded 5 to Aston Villa, then they conceded 5 to Brighton again, and then they conceded 6 to Arsenal. In just the Premier League, the last 3 games, they've conceded 16 goals. That is not acceptable at any level, and I feel for him, man, because imagine paying a season ticket, imagine going to matches, you know, and just seeing that every game. Like, I saw QPR lose 3-0 every game last season at home, and I was like, why am I even here? They're losing 6-0 every game. You know, I feel for them, I really do. Those are my thoughts on this game. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I'll see you soon for another video.